I'm Adam Goldfein. God forbid you or your family members are involved in a motor vehicle accident, and if somebody is injured, and it doesn't mean that there has to be blood or broken bones. It could be that you're just shook up and that you're sore, maybe you pulled something. If you have an injury, you may be entitled to thousands, even in some cases millions of dollars in recovery, depending on how severe and catastrophic the accident is. And you know, the thing that sometimes troubles me is that people may settle out their claims too quickly because of tough economic times, right?
That's true.
So they're not working, or they really need the cash, or the insurance company runs up and writes them a check, and we're awfully sorry, and we feel so terrible about your loss, and here's $500, you know, to try to make things smooth, and we'll get your car fixed. Right. Right? And so they're sucked into, well, it's $500. Right. You know, and they may not know they could have gotten $5,000 or $50,000 or $500,000 for their accident.
Well, you know, I've had a case where there was a $50,000 offer early on in the case, which, you know, they were still having a lot of medical problems. I always try to, if we can, let the client go ahead and get all the treatment that they need. I mean, you have the 2-year statute of limitations, so you have to file suit if it starts getting too close. But it turned out that they did, in fact, need a surgery. They had the surgery led to a second surgery, and all of a sudden, instead of a $50,000 case, we've got a case that's worth $1 million that, you know, we're going to pursue a lot more money on. So timing is very, very important, and you got to make sure. That's why you need to get all the treatment that you need. And sometimes people don't see, you know, they may just see just the conservative care, but they need to see that neurologist.
See, I don't think that they understand that your firm will help them manage the whole claim.
Right.
That your firm will take care of the details, right? Whether it's the medical bills or the debtors or creditors, you know, pouncing on them, the fact that they're out of work and getting that letter, you know, or helping them with a doctor if they don't have the money, the things that you need. It's why the phone number on the screen is so important if you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, that you call and you speak to Richard. If you're not getting, by the way, the proper legal representation, I know he's not going to say it, I'm going to say it, right? Because, I mean, you're a nice guy. But I'll tell you this, I want you to make sure that if you need a second opinion, you get a second opinion. Okay, it's the whole reason we bring experts forward, so you guys can call and get your answers to the questions that you have. The website is there also now. You do, on your website, you have an area for how much is my case worth.
I do.
Right.
Yeah, it's a simple form you can fill out and submit some information to me, and I can do some research for you and talk to you about it. You know, probably you will have to follow up and get some additional information, but it gives us a starting point of getting, you know, dug into the case and letting you know what that case is.
Because you were telling me about the jury verdict research and why that's so important to actually make sure you know, because that, I guess that helps you determine, should you settle or should you try?
Right. It does two really important things. First of all, it's going to help the client have a reasonable and realistic expectation of what that case is worth. It's going to help the client and me be able to advise the client as to whether or not do you litigate the case and take it to a jury, or do you settle. Sometimes, and I'm going to tell you the honest opinion. I mean, I'm going to tell you, yes, I think this is a great case to try, and we need to try it. But if I think you're going to net less, even if we hit what the case is worth because of the heavy expenses of litigation and because the offer is good, I'm going to tell you that as well. I'm going to tell you, look, we need to settle because you're going to end up netting more. So, you know, the jury verdict research helps in that area.
You know, you talk about netting more. What he's saying is how much money you get. Here, the one thing that I want you to do is tell us the story of the time that the individual had that big claim, but there were huge medical bills, and that your fee would have ended up taking the claim. What did you do? Tell that story if you can, real quickly.
Well, there was catastrophic injuries, broken pelvis. The person was in the hospital for months and months and months. It was someone who had stolen the vehicle, and so they were fleeing from the police, and they caused the accident. She was horrifically injured, permanently injured. It turned out there was only her UM policy to recover, so we had to make the best of the situation. She had $400,000 in medical expenses. There was a $25,000 policy, and I was able to, and to me this was a huge success. I've gotten millions of dollars for clients, that's a huge success. I've made the best out of difficult situations for the client, that's a huge success. And in this case, what I was able to do is to get that hospital to waive all of that $400,000 down to just $18,000. I reduced my fee way down and made sure the client didn't get a penny less than I'm getting. Client gets some money, I get a little money. And
you save the client from going bankrupt. You save the client from being harassed from creditors. You save the client a $400,000 problem when they only had uninsured motorist coverage. Now, here's what we're going to do when we come back, Richard. What happens if you're involved in an accident on the job? What if you're driving your company's vehicle? What if you fall off your chair? We want to talk about other types of personal injury that you need to be informed about. And it's only here on Auto School.